Welcome back to Double Down University. I'm back at you guys with another MLB PrizePicks video for April the 13th. And I have three props for you guys. The first one is Adley Rutschman over 7.5 hitter fantasy score. Paul Goldschmidt over 8.5 hitter fantasy score. And Nolan Gorman over 0.5 total bases. So let's get into it. Looking at the weather today, some good spots and for home run potential at Great American Ballpark. There's single potential in the Orioles game, and everything else has pretty average weather. I guess the worst game on the slate is Petco Park because they have the winds blowing out, but it's a cold night, so the ball tends to travel a lot less farther, if that makes sense, in colder temperatures as opposed to warmer temperatures. As you can see, Great American Ballpark has the best conditions because it's going to be a good temperature. It's going to be hot, so the ball should travel. But let's get into it. So Adley Rutschman, he's going up against a trash can in Adam Ollier, who, as you can see, all his advanced metrics are really poor across the board. Exit velocity, expected batting average. He doesn't strike out anybody really. But the thing about it is that, you know, if these pitchers tend to not strike anybody out, then that means that the hitter should have more potential to put the ball in play. But also keep in mind that most of the time, a lot of these pitchers that are really poor are only going to go through the order maybe twice, sometimes maybe 1.5 times through the lineup where they get taken out midway through. So this bodes well for batters that are in the top of the order, because if they, let's say in the first inning, they get through 6 batters and then they score a couple runs, and then the second and third inning, the top of the order players, they get to bat again. And as you can see, I'm going to pull up their expected lineup for Baltimore. But these are expected lineups. They're not confirmed. So a lot of these players can go in or out, you know, based on the manager trying to give a guy a day off or not. But as you can see, the over-under is really high. It's at 10 runs. So there should be runs in this game. Should be plenty of them. Probably more on the Orioles side as opposed to the A's. So the starting expected lineup is Mullins, Rutschman. So Rutschman's in the 2-hole. So if Mullins gets on, he has RBI potential. He can also steal a bag in front of him to be able to get to second and put himself in scoring position alone by himself. And then he also has Mountcastle, Santander, and then my boy Gunnar Henderson behind him, and Hayes been swinging the bat pretty well too. So he has insurance and protection behind him to be able to get him in if he gets on base via a walk or a hit. So I really like Adley in this situation as well. And then even down in the bottom of the order, Mateo and Frazier, they have potential to get on, let's say in the bottom of the second inning or third inning, where they turn the lineup back over to the top of the order with Mullins and Rutschman to be able to get RBI potential there with maybe an out or less or 2 outs or less. So I really like him there. But digging into his numbers, the best part about Adley that I would say is he's a switch hitter. So he can bat either from the right side or the left side, and that is really, really great going up against Ollier, because I think he's a righty, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's a righty, so Adley can go and bat from the left side, you know, with him. And then with the relievers, he can kind of play tricks and games and go to the opposite side of each reliever, depending on what handedness they are. But the biggest thing I noticed with Ollier is that when he's down in counts, he tends to throw that slurve and the fastball. Like when batters are ahead in the count, he throws the fastball more than any other pitch, no matter if it's to lefties or righties, same amount. But to lefties, he throws it 36% of the time, and then he throws his slurve 31% of the time. But as you can see, his cutter, when batters are ahead, his cutter is his put away pitch. So meaning, like, if it's 2 strikes, if he gets it back to 2 strikes or whatever, he'll be able to strike somebody out. And then also when he's in an 0-2 count, I love looking at this because it shows what's his pitch to get out of a situation, to be able to get swing and miss stuff. His biggest or best, most effective pitch is his slurve, and his put away percentage is 25. And I find it pretty hilarious that his put away percentage is 0% off of fastball. So that just tells you right there his fastball isn't that good. But going into Adley's run value on pitch type, so He's batting 563 against the fastball and slugging 800 and 813 against the fastball this year. Last year, he was killing the fastball as well, batting 308, and his slugging percentage is 587, which is really, really good. Against the slurve, he didn't really play too much against it this year. That's why you don't see it up here for this year, because it's a new season and sample size is small. So we always tend to go to last year. Last year he had 2 plate appearances against the slurve, and he's batting 1,000. So he's got a hit every time he's faced the slurve last year. Of course, that is also a small sample size as well, because he only had 2 plate appearances. But it just goes to show you his potential against the slurve if he was ever to go up against it. And then he doesn't have really strikeout potential. Like, he doesn't strike out a lot, as you can see here. He doesn't really strike out. His K percentage is in the 75th percentile, which is really good, and he has a good walk rate, so he has potential to get us a free 2 points if Mr. Allaire is wild, and then he get on base, and if he scores, that's 4 points off of just not even getting a hit. And then if he gets a hit in RBI later on, or gets a hit and somebody knocks him in later on in the game, that's an extra, 5 points. So really like Rutschman in this spot. And then next up, another trash can who I'm a big Phillies fan, so I watched this guy pitch for years. He tends to start off well, and then he just falls off a cliff in the middle of the game, starting in like the 3rd through 5th inning. He starts to walk people, things of that nature. If for any instance that PrizePicks puts his walks allowed up there at 1.5, go ahead and grab that. I actually like that better than the Goldschmidt pick, because he is a walking machine, and that's what kind of tends to get him in trouble throughout his whole career, is walking batters. So with that being said, I like Paul Goldschmidt's fantasy just because he can get to this guy. Four seam is his dominant pitch. His slider, four seam slider change is pretty much his arsenal. When he's behind, when a batter's ahead in the count, he throws that fastball over, tries to get that fastball over. And as you can see, when they're ahead, they have a 333 batting average against the fastball. Against the slider, they're batting 667, which is ridiculous. His put away pitch or tries to get him back into the count is his curveball. And then also when he's up 0-2, his dominant pitch is his fastball as well. And batting hitters have a batting average of 333 against it. And I don't think he throws too much. He doesn't really touch his slider too much once he is ahead in the count, which is odd, because that's normally a pitch you could put somebody away with. So he has all the confidence in the world with his fastball. He tends to throw like a high fastball to try to get some swing and miss action when he's ahead in the count. So we already talked about Goldschmidt yesterday. His numbers, he's just ridiculous at this point in his career. Like, he's batting 286 against the fastball, batting 286 against the slider. Last year, if you want to take into account with more plate appearances and a bigger sample size, he's batting 303. Batting average against the fastball and against the slider is batting 268, which is ridiculous as well. So, and then the curveball, to make matters worse, against the curveball, he's batting 366. And then against the curveball this year, he's batting 500, which is ridiculous. So he's just smashing everybody. Against righties this year, his splits is really good. We talked about it yesterday. He's batting 344 against righties and 417 against lefties. So really like him in this spot. We actually getting a little bit of a discount at 8.5, as yesterday it was 9.5, and he still covered the 9.5 with his late game heroics in the 9th inning to go over. But another guy I also like too, looking at Vinny's his splits, is that to lefties he's giving up a 400 average to lefties and a 526 on base percentage and 800 slugging percentage against lefties. So he's just getting shelled by lefties, and they finally put a lefty on the board, Mr. Nolan Gorman. I was looking for him yesterday, but PrizePicks didn't post him at all. Has a great walk rate, but we're not looking for that. We just need a hit out of him. Good barrel percentage, good exit velocity, good expected batting average, puts the ball in play. He does average against the fastball, I would say. Last year he didn't do too well. He was terrible against the fastball, which is ironic for um, a pretty good hitter. He was batting 160 against the fastball, and against the slider he's batting 351. And then against the slider again last year he was batting 333. So I think that if he was to get if he goes in one pitch, one spot, and looks for a slider, he should be able to do pretty well. But this year, his batting average against the fastball is much better at 286. Let's look at his splits against lefties and righties. Against righties, he's crushing righties. So it seems like he's only in a lineup when they play righties. So he's more of like a specialty platoon type of guy that if they play righties, he should be in the batting order. As you can see, he has 37 plate appearances and 30 at-bats against righties. He's batting 333, which is amazing. His on-base percentage is 459. His slugging is 800. His OPS is 1.259, which is really, really good. So I really like him in this spot. All he needs is just a hit, to get a hit either early or late. I think he should be productive. Hopefully, if he doesn't strike out, he should be able to put the ball in play and have a chance all 4 at bats to be able to get us that elusive hit. So yeah, so those are my 3 that I like for you guys. I go back over it. Adley Rutschman over 7.5 hitter fantasy score. Paul Goldschmidt over 8.5 hitter fantasy score. And Nolan Gorman over 0.5 total bases. If they add more to the board, I'll probably upload a video a little later on. I know I'm at work right now, so I kind of try to get this video out to you guys while I'm at work. So if I see anything later on tonight, I'll probably post. If not, I'll most definitely post a video tomorrow. I appreciate you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. And also, best of luck.